Hello, good morning, officers. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, all. So now we are going to discuss. So today we are going to discuss about procurement through CPP portal. So for that, I have already prepared a PPT. So let us walk you through that. Is it visible to all? Any issues? Am I accessing this?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah. You are watching in mobile. Try to watch in landscape mode. Okay. So by now, all of you might have already heard about this one. Central Public Procurement Portal, CPP portal. Of course, this fact also you might have known. The services or the products which are not available on GEM can only be procured through CPP. If they are available on GEM, obviously we can't float tender on CPP portal. So before we discuss about CPP in depth, let us try to glance the rules which are currently available. Let me share this in PPT mode. Yeah, let us try to have the glance. These are the various rules. In fact, one office order has come, one OM has come up in the year 2014, which says if the tender value is more than 2 lakhs, then we have to invariably go for e-tender. So let us even look at the order. I'm just clicking this one. This is the order which came up in 2014 and which says like this. Earlier it was 10 lakhs and with effect from April 2015 it was 5 lakh. Then with effect from 1/4/2016 it was 2 lakh. So that means if the tender value is more than 2 lakhs, definitely you have to go for tender, e-tender. So that is one thing. Then another one is generation of GEMAR and PTS. In short form, GEM availability report. So if you want to process anything outside GEM, first we need to generate that GEM availability report ID, and we have to link that ID in the CPP portal. Then only you can move forward. Of course, sometimes for all the works or services, the ID will not be generated. If the ID is not generated, with the help of there is another way, that is we can take the approval for processing the tender on CPP from an officer not less than JS level. Okay, so let us even look at the OM. So these are the OMs which are available. So this is the latest one, 23rd October 2020. So they have mentioned clearly. Earlier they have given some exemption, but from 23rd October 2020, they have made it mandatory for all the cases. In the previous OM, it was 27th August 2020. So they have they have removed some clauses. Actually, the original order is this 23rd January 2020. This is the original order. So they have given some relaxation in the original order. That is, they have mentioned here. In case it is not possible to extract GEMR and PTS report due to urgency and non-functioning of GEM at the time or due to non-availability of internet, Screenshot in such cases shall be placed in procurement files along with the details of reasons, circumstances. That means there was some exemption at that time. But later, this order has been overruled. They have removed that clause. The reason is, if net is not available, we can't even work with CPP also. So that clause has been removed. And finally, they have made it mandatory for all the cases. And of course, here they have still mentioned, whenever the same is not possible due to urgency, buyers will be required to upload the approval of associated finance. Of course, associated finance in terms of GEM terminology is an officer not less than the level of joint secretary. So in our case, it is chief engineer. So we need to take the approval and we need to upload that order. So this is the order. Now, another rule, no tender fee. If you are floating a tender on CPP, obviously we should not keep any tender fee. Tender should be free of cost, of course, which is governed by GFR rule number 161. You can even glance at relevant rule. This is the 161 rule number. You can see the fourth point. In order to promote wider participation and ease of bidding, no cost of tender document may be charged for the tender documents downloaded in the bidder. So as per GFR rule number 161, so there won't be any tender now. And this, some of you might have already known, EMD, that is bid security. Bid security is exempted from all MSCs, that is micro and medium small enterprises, as per rule number 170 of GFR. That also you can see here. This is the rule number 170. They have mentioned here clearly. And of course, there is one more OM which has came up very recently. That means 12th November 2020. As per this, of course, this OM has came up in Corona time. As per this OM, EMD exempted for all the bidders till 31st December 2020. That also you can see it. This is the 12th November 2020. They have mentioned clearly here. In fact, they have mentioned no provision regarding bid security should be kept in the bid documents in future, and only for bid security declaration should be kept in the bid. That means you should not collect EMD, and we should mention, if at all you need, you can mention bid security declaration. They will declare, they will undertake that we won't withdraw the bids during the bid validity period. Of course, they have mentioned clearly the above section will be applicable for all the tenders issued till 31st 12/2021. In general, for MSCs, EMD is not applicable, but for all other tenders, for all, in fact, not only MSCs, for all other bidders, EMD is exempted till 31st December. Achha, it seems this is not opening to you all. Okay, fine. I just noticed. Let me. Actually, what I have seen now, you could not able to access the orders. You can see the orders. I'm just going. What? अभी दिखा दे order. So this was the original order, as per which you can see from 1/4/2016, the limit is 2 lakhs. For all the tenders whose tender value is more than 2 lakhs, we need to invariably go to e-tendering. Go for e-tendering. This is the first order. The second one is generation of GMAR and PTS ID. This I also have made hyperlink. You can see this is the latest order. They have made it all cases. This was the before order. This was the original order. In the original order, they have made certain relaxation. That is, due to it is not possible to extract GMA or PTS report due to urgency and non-functioning of GEM at the time, or due to non-availability of internet and all. So there was some relaxation given as per this class, as per the original order. But this was removed in the order 27th August 2020. So they have mentioned that this class has been removed. Non-functioning of GEM at the time due to internet. You can see here, of course, if GEM is not working, obviously GEM is not working due to non-availability of internet, then CPP also may not work. So there is no point of keeping that class. They have removed that class, and from 23rd October 2002, they have mandated for all cases. But still, they have mentioned here when there is an urgency, so you can take the approval from the associated finance, as I mentioned earlier. Associated finance means, in terms of GEM terminology, an officer not equivalent to JS and above. So we need to take the approval, and we need to upload that approval letter in the CPP portal to move forward. So without this GEM, this ID, we cannot float any tender in CPP nowadays. So let us go back. Of course, no tender fee. This also have mentioned. Rule 161, GEM Rule 161. As per this, there won't be any tender fee. And EMs exempted for all MSMEs as per Rule 170 of GFR. You can also see here, we should not collect any EMD for all MSMEs. And there is one more recent order, that is 12th November 2020. As per this, EMD is exempted for all the agencies, irrespective of their category. So you can also see that order here. You can see, in fact, they mentioned that bid security should not be kept in the tender documents. Instead, we can only ask them bid security declaration. Bid security means during the time of bid, during the time of bid validity period. So to safeguard or to avoid duplicate bidding, or to disallow bidders to terminate, to withdraw their bids during the bid processing time. Bid security generally we take. Bid security is nothing but EMD. So this order is applicable till 31st December 2021. So during this Corona time, so it is not possible to collect the EMD from all the bidders. That is the reason why this order is applicable only till December 2021. After that, anyway, for all MSMEs, the bid security is exempted. That most of you might have it. Actually, one more order is there. Turnover and prior experience. This is also very, very important. If any bidder is happen to be MSME registered agency or MSE, then we have to exempt them from turnover and experience criteria. That I have not included here. Let me share that order as well. So this is the order. Is 8th November 2016 OM. I hope you could able to see this order. This order is visible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as per this, you can even see. As per this order, you can even see they have mentioned clearly for startups or MSCs. They have given exemption. You can see here. Criteria of prior turnover and prior experience to all startups is relaxed, subject to the meeting of quality and technical specification. That means if they have MSME certificate, we can exempt them from prior turnover and experience criteria only. not from the other point of view. Suppose if you keep some other condition like we need to have like audited statement or bidder has to upload income tax return. So if they could not able to upload that one, we can reject them on that condition. So this is only for turnover and experience criteria. So let us go coming back to our PPT. This PPT is visible to all. Actually,
Yes, sir. It is visible.
yeah. Okay. So these are the just rules at a glance. Yeah. Then prerequisites. So if you want to use CPP portal for floating any tender, of course, just like e-office, we should have here JRE version, Java Runtime Environment version 8 and above. So you don't have to go to any third-party site. You can simply go to CPP portal. There itself, that version is available. You can simply download. You can go to CPP portal. You can see the downloads here. Let me zoom it more. You can go to downloads. And you can see here, JRE8 download. You can simply click that one. It will be downloaded. That's it. Okay. Then browsers. So coming to browsers, we should use Internet Explorer or Firefox. You cannot use Chrome or you cannot use Edge for floating tender. In fact, it won't even allow you to log in. So we have to use only Internet Explorer or Firefox. So to check that one, again, there is one more thing here. You can see here. You can see I have opened this site in Microsoft, Google Chrome. You can see the site here, site compatibility. You can click that one. They have mentioned clearly here. You are using a browser not supported by this website. Okay, so you cannot use Chrome. Suppose if you open the same site in Internet Explorer, let's say eProcure. You can see the site compatibility. You can see. Actually, it is working. You can see the portal is compatible for the following browser. It is, of course, it is mentioned 10 and above, but nowhere it is mentioned that browser is not compatible. So we can work on that. Not only Internet Explorer, we can even use Firefox. Firefox means we need to use the version 42. The current version is not going to support. We have to use only the version 42 to 49. So I have already downloaded 42 and 48 version, 49 version. You can even see, check here. You can see site compatibility. You can even see here. So this also supporting portal. Okay. So this is only checking compatibility. That's it. So coming to the steps, I think most of you might know who are dealing with the tender, just like the manual tenders. First, we need to create the tender, NIT, and we need to publish that. After publishing, we need to open the technical bids if it is a two-stage bidding. Then we need to do technical evaluation. And after technical evaluation, the last stage is opening financial bids, then evaluate financially, then award of contract. These are the steps that everyone knows. Now directly let us go to CPP portal. So let us try to operate this through eprocure.in. This is the web address eprocure.gov.in, and here you can see click here to log in will come. So before we upload any tender on CPP portal, first we should ready with the two things. One is we should prepare our NAT and we should convert that into PDF, and we have to save that in our PC. And another thing, in fact, the most important, the most critical part is preparing BOQ, bill of quantity. So to prepare BOQ, we need to download the template. We need to download the template. So for that, we need to go to again, click the downloads. You can see here, BOQ templates are available. So of course, if you are using Windows, then these are the templates. So you can download any one. Let's item-wise, item-based template. So I'm going to download this one. So you can open this one. This is a very critical part. You can enable editing. So it has opened like this. You can see you cannot edit here. Of course, this is the BOQ that we generally open for contractors. So if a contractor downloads BOQ like this, he cannot edit anything here. He cannot edit quantity. He cannot edit units. He cannot even edit estimated. He has to only code this part, the rate at which he would like to provide the work or services. So this is the unedited document. We cannot edit this one. In fact, this is locked document. So first we need to unlock for all the documents which are downloaded from CPP portal the password. To unlock, we need to click here review, and here you can click unprotect, and the password is going to be default for all the documents. That the password is test, TEST. Okay. Password is let me check whether I have forgotten the password. Just wait for a second. Let me. Yeah, sorry for interruption. Yeah, the password is for all the documents which are downloaded from the CPP portal. The password is testing, TESTING. You can see now it is unprotected. BOK is unprotected now. Now you can make whatever changes you'd like to have. Of course, you can edit this one. You can edit this one. You can add your own items, and you should be very careful here. You cannot add any columns here, and rows can be added, and you should be very careful. You can see here, this is column number 4, column number 5, column number 6, and there are so many columns which are missing. After that, we have column number 13. That means there are so many columns which are hidden here. You can see here. If you click here, unhide, you can see. To click again here, unhide. So many things are which are hidden here. So we don't have any choice to add columns here. So only thing is we can hide. Okay, and rows can be added, but we have to be very careful. Okay, so this actually I could not able to demonstrate here. Why? Because it depends on case to case. So the only thing is you have to apply your skills so that the format of this Excel is not going to be destroyed. We have to keep it as it is. Format should be intact, and we have to. You can add rows here. There won't be any issue. You can select here, and you can add like this. You can add, and you can add the name also. No issue. Whatever items here. And if you don't need anything, don't delete anything. You can simply unhide. You can simply click here. Not unhide, hide. Simply hide. It is going to be hide. Similarly, the columns also. If you don't delete anything, simply hide anything. If you don't need anything, you can simply hide. This is the one you need to do. Okay. Now let us go back to our discussion. You can see here it is showing errors, so because we have not added anything here. Anyway, let us not save this one. Let us go back. Let us go back to our original portal. So here, click this one. Click here to log in. So your username is going to be NIC email ID. Password is also going to be the same. And one more thing before login, we need to set up our DSC. So DSC is setting up DSC is going to be as same as setting up DSC for eOffice. In fact, we don't have to rename any software here. The simple thing is, as I mentioned during eOffice lecture, we have to log into our token, DSC token, and login, and there will be two certificates, NCPRment and DSC. So we have to export the certificates to our desktop and go to internet option and go to content. Go to internet content and go to certificates. And of course, here I already imported. That's why it is my certificates are appearing here. If not, go to import and export. From here we have saved your certificates. This is as simple. Of course, I have already given PPT also how to import the certificates to your browser. This already done in my system, so I am not discussing about that part. So directly we have to log in, and password is going to be the same as NIC email. You can see here. You can see here it is going to ask. One pop-up window come up like this. You can click yes, and here one more login option is going to come. Basically, it is a two-stage login. First, we need to enter with our NIC email and password. Then here we need to log in through our DSC. So PIN is going to be PIN of DSC. So I have logged in. So this is the portal you would see once you logged in. So here you can even see master management hierarchy user. So you could even see your hierarchy in organization. Organized details, everything you can see here. and user management. First time if you are logged in, the first thing you need to do is you need to create a departmental user. Suppose if you could able to access, if you are a tendering inviting authority, or if you're an officer of XCN level, so you need to first log in, and you need to add the subsequent users under your level, like or AE or JE. So we need to add. So to add, we need to simply click new user, and we need to fill all these details, and we can add them. And you can even give them roles like nodal officer or procurement officer opener. So we can give, in fact, you can give all those. It won't make any big difference. So this is the step where we have to do adding the users. So now let us straight away go to the part, tendering part. Here you can see tender management. So click create tender. So these are the various tenders which are floated by our office. So go to the last one, create new call for tender. So here tender reference number. So that means the tender number. Generally tender reference number will be in this format, like financial year followed by number. Like, of course, different offices will have different setups or different formats for creating tender numbers. So let's say this is tender number 1. And we need to select type of tender. If it's an open tender means open to all. Limited tender means limited to only few people. Or single tender, or a global means private tender. I mean, global means like for tenders which are open to abroad, worldwide. So we have to select. So let us select any one type. Let's say this is an open tender. And form of contract, of course, there are various types: piecework, lump sum, turnkey. There are various types. So let's we are going to upload a tender, a dummy tender. So I'm selecting as works, and number of covers. So this is going to be very important. So if we select one cover, so one cover means, so just like in physical, the bidder is going to submit EMD. I mean, tender fee nowadays, tender fee is not there. EMD and all the documents supporting his eligibility criteria, and BOQ. He is going to submit in a single cover. Just like in physical, he is going to place all those documents in an envelope and submit to our office. This is a manual, I mean, offline system. But in e-tendering system, so he is going to upload all those documents at a single place. In fact, we are going to see how it is going to work. Then two covers means EMD and technical documents in at one place he is going to upload, and BOQ at other place he is going to upload. 3 means, of course, EMD at one place, technical documents at another place, and BOQ at another place. And similarly, 4 covers. Of course, we can create what are the documents we can ask in each cover. In the first cover, we may ask only EMD details. In the second cover, you may ask only like experience criteria. In third cover, we may ask any other document you would like to have. And fourth cover, you may ask BOQ. So let's say 2 cover, it is common for most of the tenders. And tender category, of course, if you are floating a tender for services, you can select services or works. You can select. Anyway, this category and all doesn't make big difference. But the covers, number of covers, we have to select very carefully. And number of bid openers, of course, there are 4 users which are registered in our database. So it is 2 of 4, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. So I'm just selecting 3 of 3. That means if there are 3 users, all three should log in while opening the tender. That means if a single person log in, it won't allow to open the bids. That means during the time of opening of tender, or even during the time of opening of technical bids, financial bids. So now I'm selecting, let's say 2 of 3. Any 2 persons out of 3. Now you can see here, default 2 covers has come. Why? Because I have selected 2 covers. That's why 2 covers has come. You can read here, cover type, fee, pre-qualification, technical. So you can see here, add contents. This is a very important thing. That means here we need to mention what are the documents a bidder should upload. Okay. So you can write you can ask them scanned copy of. Now EMD is not required up to December 31st, but later on. So for contracts other than MSCs, they have to upload EMD, and the original copy they have to send through post to our office, and we need to match. So whether the scanned copy of EMD and the original copy received both are same or not. And we can select the type of document they have to upload. So I have mentioned here scanned copy of EMD in PDF. So I have saved it here. So one document they have to upload like this, and you can write, you can even ask another documents as well, like turnover, not turnover, whatever documents we can ask, like experience. So you can ask the document from the bidders in PDF format. You can select the format. You can even select the XLS, JPG, image file. It's up to you. Save. That means while submitting the bid, the vendor has to upload all these the documents which are mentioned here. And similarly, you can mention like GST registration. You can even mention more than one document in one single layer also. ETF registration. Okay, so okay, special character is not allowed. You can add. So likewise, we can keep on adding the documents we require. So let's say let's assume that we are floating a tender. So I am having a tender here. This is my tender. I have already prepared. I want to float this tender. I have already prepared NIT document. So let's say I have mentioned this criteria, like license with, let's say this is a tender. This the name of the work is providing catering services to National Award Academy Mess. So we have mentioned some eligibility criteria. So all these things we can keep there. Generally, most of the vendors or most of the bidders, they don't have patience to go through each and every document in the NIT. They simply see what you have written here. What are the documents you have asked them? That's it. They will read this and they will upload the corresponding documents. So we have to be very careful while writing a document description here. So we have to definitely include all the documents you require. And suppose if you don't mention any document here, and if they could not able to submit, if suppose you need scan copy of EMD and you forgot to mention here, and you cannot even reject them on the basis of this, because asking the documents at this point is very, very critical. If you miss any documents, obviously you don't have any right to disqualify the bidders, citing that so and so document has not submitted. Okay, so here very careful. So likewise, we have to mention जो भी है short form में लिख लीजिए. So you can say. So up to, I mean, there is one limitation here. You can add only up to 7 covers. 7 covers doesn't mean that we can only ask only 7 type of documents from the bidder. We can add only 7 kind of layers like this. But suppose if you want to ask more documents, and we have only 7 layers here. So the thing we have to do is you can select any one thing, and here only you can ask another details also. Scan copy, PMD, PAN, labor license, etc. etc. So in this layer is going to upload all 3 documents. Okay. So now let us move to the next part. So click next, and you can see here finance. So click this one. So what is the document you would like to ask at the financial stage? So generally we ask most important thing, that is BOQ, and the document that should be always in XLS, and you can select AS. If you want to seek any other document, that also you can write here. any other, like suppose like if you want to ask them like if you are doing any work and they have submitted simply the rates, and if you need even the brand names also for all the rates they have quoted. Let's say if you mention simply I need a computer, there are different brands of computer, they will quote let's say 70,000 for a computer, right? So you place let's say that that bidder is happen to be lowest bidder, L1, so you are going to place the order to him. So for 70,000, which brand he is going to provide? He may provide even cheaper brands after the later time. So sometimes you may even ask them to submit along with the BAQ. They need to furnish which brands of items they are going to provide with specification. So if he's going to provide computer, what is the name of the brand? What is the configuration of the brand? So they have to give in detail. So that also you can ask them. So anyway, this is like a mesh contract, so I'm not adding anything. So if you need, you can add here and you can select the format also. So after that, you can click next. Now go to next. Now here we need to upload the NIT document. So go to upload. Go to the folder where your documents are saved. It's a PDF document only. Now you can click this symbol here. So it is going to digitally sign it. Your NIT is going to be digitally sign it. And one more thing, tender can be uploaded or floated by any one of the officers. There will be any criteria. Suppose there are 3 users in your office, there are 4 users, anyone can, it is better to give them full rights. So anyone can upload the tender or anyone can float the tender. One person is required. Not all 3 or not all 4 persons are required to upload or to float a tender. But while opening, all, suppose if you mention 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, so it is going to ask the pin. You mention 3 out of 4, so any 3 users are required to log in to open that particular tender. So I'm clicking submit. We have to write here. You can write here. If you want to write any more description, you can write here and you can submit. And we need to verify that NIT again. You can click that one. You can check this one whether the uploaded NIT is same as the one which was floated. I mean, which you intend to upload. This is the one only. You can check. So you can save that one. And you can go to next. Now you can see work item details. You have to write the name of the work. If you want to add more description, that you can write here. I am just copying as it is. And location, you can write, and pin code. If you want to have preview meeting, that you can mention, and if you have to mention the place also. And product category, you can select. The food item. So anyway, this category is, even if you select a wrong one, it doesn't make much difference. These are just formality. Anyway, let us select simply works. Best thing. Anyway, I'm simply selecting something, and we can even mention the pre-bid address and contract type. If it's a tender, rate contract, we have to mention, and tender class. Generally, you can mention all or as per tender document. And tender value, we can mention. Let's say if it is a if it is a 80 lakhs, we have to mention that value. And you can even display. If you would like to display tender value, you can mention yes, or if not, no. Inviting officer, you can mention the name designation. Bid validity generally we keep for 90 days. Inviting officer does. And completion delivery period in 30 days. It's basically service, it's a contract. So we generally like that means once you place the order, in how many days he has to start the work. You can keep, or if you are placing any tender for procurement of any items, in how many days he has to deliver the items. So you can mention the time. So you can click next. Bid opening place. So free payment mode, now default it is offline. You cannot receive the payment, like suppose bidder has to pay the EMD or tender fee. So there is no option as such. They can directly pay the fee through online. No, there is no option. Now they have to only submit the DD or banker's check, and they need to submit. They need to upload the scanned copy, and the original copy they need to send it by post. So tender fee now, as I mentioned, there is no tender fee. You can keep 0, and you can keep no here, exemption. Why? Because we have keep 0 here, so there is no point of allowing exemption. And EMD fee, and as I mentioned earlier, as per GFR, we can charge EMD from 2 to 5% of the estimated value. So you can write the, if it is fixed amount, you can write here, or you can simply mention the percentage. It will, you can see it has automatically calculated the EMD. So that's it. And EMD payable to, you can edit here. EMD should be done like you always mention. If you are seeking any check or DD, we always mention DD should be drawn in the name of so on executive engineer, like that. Same thing here. The same goes here also. And the type of documents you would like to ask, you can ask either banker check, direct credit. No, direct credit is not allowed. Demand draft, or you can even ask EFD or personal check. Generally, we don't prefer EMD, demand draft, and banker check we allow. So we simply click next. And dates we have to write here, the one which are mentioned in your tender. You can see here. You might have mentioned the critical dates in your tender. So accordingly, we have to. This is a bit old tender. So accordingly, we need to write dates. Suppose if you are publishing today, let's say today 11, and you are, let's say you are publishing at 11 and minutes 20, and document start date, from which date they can able to start. Let's say if you want to seek any clarification, you can mention, but these dates are not mandatory due to directly pre-bid meeting. So you can mention that when there is going to be pre-bid meeting, and bid submission start date, from which date they can start submitting bids. You have mentioned here pre-bid meeting, so let us keep 15 and 9. And bid submission closing date, you can keep 30. Why? Because minimum 15 days time should be given. And bid opening date, if you are opening on 30, let's say you can keep on 1. Times you can change, it's not a big deal. And another thing, sometimes there might be some emergency, you don't have to follow the time frames. you can start opening the bids on 15th. You can even stop receiving the bids on the same day also. You can even see here. I can even keep the date on 15th also. Like I hope bidders can submit the bids right from 9 o'clock in the morning and up to 6 o'clock in the evening. Okay. So next. Okay, you can see critical date should not fall on all Sundays. Actually, we have mentioned here what August 1. August 1 is happen to be a Sunday, so you cannot have that one. You can also see here maximum of 20 days gap is allowed between bid submission closing date and okay, there is a limit here. Maximum. Actually, we have mentioned too much gap here. Maximum of 27 days gap is allowed between bid submission closing date and bid opening date. Actually, I mentioned bid submission closing. Okay, 30th June. So this I mentioned August. So let me pick one. That's it's gone. And now you can select any 2 of 3 required. So I will select any. Okay, we have mentioned 3. Okay. We need to select 3 people. Out of 3, any 2 people can open. So I'm selecting 3. So this is done. And the last part, the uploading BOQ. It's very, very important. So BOQ need to be prepared. And of course, for our content, we have already prepared BOQ and we can write here. And here we need to upload the BOQ. So for this tender, we have already prepared BOQ. This BOQ already prepared. And we need to click this here. So it is going to be digitally signed. And one more thing I would like to say at this point, as I mentioned earlier, we need to download the format from the CPP portal. It is asking OTP. Let us come back to that one. So as I mentioned earlier, suppose you are downloading a template. Let's say you open it and enable editing. The first thing to modify this one, we need to unprotect this. Click review, unprotect. Password is going to be testing, TESTING. That's what is on, TESTING. Now it is unprotected. So modify this template according to your requirement. And at the end, we need to protect this one. If you don't unprotect it, then the problem is bidders can able to edit. Bidder also can able to edit all those things. Actually, bidder is required to code only in the fields which are highlighted in this color, sky blue color. Okay, so we have to unprotect. You can keep your own password now. And now it is unprotected. And we need to save this at a place and we need to upload. Okay, now let us come back. Now I have already uploaded my BOQ for this. Now you click save. And here you need to verify it again and click this one. So before verify, we need to check. Why? Because there will be a lot of errors in the BOQs. So we need to check BOQ here, but in this one, you can see BOQ format is compiled. That means that is in proper state. Now you can click it again, save it. Now next. Now, so with this, the preparation of tender document is finished. Now if you click agree and send to publish, So you can see here tender has been sent to publisher for publishing ID. Okay, so you can come here, publish tender, come to publish tender. You can see, I think this one, second one, this one. So come to bottom, you can simply click publish tender. Now tender is going to be published. Without clicking this, tender is not going to be published. Okay, so I'm not going to click this one. If I click this one, like it is going to be published. So I'll simply skip here this stage. So this is how we need to float a tender or publish a tender on CP report. So after due time is over, like let's say let's say time has come to open the bids after 10 or 15 days, whatever time frame you have kept. So once the bids are received, then go to directly tenders to be opened. Of course, there are some old tenders here. So actually, these were not opened due to some issues. These are some old tenders, not the present tender. So let's say there are some tenders. So I'll click this one. You can see here there are 2 green marks and 1 red mark. That means only 2 people has opened. You can see here we mentioned 2 of 3. Minimum 2 bidders or openers should be clicked. Already 2 people have already logged in. So they can log in from their own system, or they can come to a single place and then they individually can log in. Okay, and of course this is my name. I have not used. Anyway, it's not required. Bids are already open. You can see. So you can see there are only 2 bidders are participated. So what we have to do at this stage, we need to accept them blindly. Just like you are accepting, yes, so and so vendors have submitted the bids and you are accepting their bids. That's it. It's not like they are not qualified. If they are not qualified, that we will see at the technical evaluation stage. This is simply accepting bids as it is. You cannot reject any bidder at this stage. Okay, so we have to accept them. In a way, both are already accepted, so you can click here. You can click the option accept. Next. You can select the next one, second one also. You can click next. So both are accepted. Now submit. So actually there are 2 bidders. They have submitted their bids. Now I have not even opened the technical bids. I have to simply accept first. It's just like what we do generally in manual process. Suppose 10 bidders are submitted their bids. What we do, all bids are open. This thing we will do, right? The same thing we are going to do here. Why? Because suppose somebody has not submitted any EMD. So at this stage, if they have not submitted any EMD, at this stage you can reject them. Okay. Or better way is accept all as it is at this stage, and there is going to be another stage called technical evaluation. That says we will scrutinize all the documents, technical documents, and we will reject or we will accept at that stage. Okay. You can see here bid opening summary. What I will write, we'll write all bids are open. If you want to upload the document, if you have documented the bid openings event, you can upload that way. Generally, it's not required. So I will simply submit. Okay. So I'll simply click next. Okay, it's over now. So what I have done now, I have simply opened bids. So after opening bids, now we have to go to technical evaluation. For that, you can simply go back and go to bottom one, technical evaluation. You can see this one. Just now we have opened 2 bids. Now here both are come. And here you can, let us see the documents. Actually, we have not seen, I did not explain how to see the documents. Let us come back. Not this one. Actually, one step I forgot to mention, that is downloading the documents they have submitted. That is to be done only at the opening stage. So, and in hurry, I forgot to mention that part. Anyway, let's see again. Let's say there is another tender here. Let's say this one. So this indicate. Then anyway, it is there is some issue. Anyway, I cannot. I alone can decrypt this one. Minimum 2% are required. So here, like when names are going to come and all the documents we could able to see. Okay. And if there are any shortfall documents, we can even seek them clarification. And let us go to this one again, technical evaluation. So let's say if he is going to accept it, we have to accept. If he is going to reject it, we can even mention in which grounds he is going to be rejected. Okay. Actually, in normal way, what happens? We all submit all this tender document, all the technical documents submitted by bidders to a committee, tender evaluation committee. They scrutinize all the documents and they mention so and so agency is admitted, so and so agency is not admitted. So if any agency is not admitted, and we can even ask them, suppose if any agency has not submitted any document, if there is any shortfall document, we can even seek the shortfall document before even rejecting them. So to seek a shortfall document, there is one more option here. Shortfall document. Or else we can go to here. Sorry. We can even go to this one and we can select the zones of tender here. But because now all tenders are accepted, that's why we're not able to see anything here. So the tender will come and you can select the bidder. I need so and so documents. So and we have to give them some time. And if he is going to submit the shortfall document, again we can place the document before the tender evaluation committee. If they consider, then we can accept. If they could not able to submit any shortfall document within the stipulated time, then we can straight away reject them. So let us go back. Let's say I'm accepting one and I'm rejecting one. I'm writing MS EMD not submitted, whatever it is. Okay. Yeah, accept it now. Reject. And of course, it is asking about the committee members. Who are the committee members and all? We need to write here. Who are the committee members, chairman, all those things we need to write. So what these are not mandatory and company details uploaded. That means tender the minutes of meeting of a tender evaluation committee. They always sign a minutes, right? They recommend so and so agency is admitted, so and so agency is not admitted. So we need to upload the document. So we need to save the document in a PDF and we need to upload. And of course, we need to sign it again. Every time we need to digitally sign the document. Okay, it's successful. Okay. Likewise, now this is about technical evaluation. So once technical evaluation is over, then we need to go for again. Generally, what we do once we open technical bits, we have done technical evaluation. So before doing financial evaluation, we have to open the bids, right? So for that, again, we need to go to bid opening, tenders to be open. You can see here financial cover to be open. So you can go to that one, and of course, minimum 2 bid openers are required. Actually, this is another tender. Sorry. Anyway, for us only we need just demonstration. You can even see who has opened this one. And to open anyway, minimum 2 are required. And from this, you can easily see. You can easily see from this. 2 persons are already logged in from their respective accounts and they have encrypted. Okay. Now, these are the financial bids, and you can click any one agency, and it is the document. You can click that one. BOQ you can click. You can see that. It is a BOQ submitted by anyone bidder. So this is what we have to see. Okay, and of course this is again just opening stage. We cannot reject at this stage. Most of the people, what they do, they simply reject at this stage. That we should not do. This is just opening. You can simply accept. So likewise, we have to select all those things and you can accept. Anyway, there is no importance to this stage actually. Now, after accepting all the financial bids or after opening all the financial bids and they got accepted, now we have to place those financial bids before technical tender evaluation committee, and they will evaluate and they will say, so we need to place the order to we need to place the work order to so and so company and all. So after that, we need to go to financial evaluation. Achha, this one increments here it is showing. So here you can see here for this particular bid only one has come. Directly instead of opening in bids open, the tender has not appeared here. Here particularly this one. The reason is only single tender has participated. That is the reason why we have to anyway decide whether we have to accept or reject at a financial evaluation stage. So if only one tender is accepted at the financial stage, so you don't have to go to again open tenders to be open and we don't have to accept it. You can straight away find it in financial evaluation. Okay, so this one. There are other 3 tenders which were open and they are waiting for evaluation. We have to click this one and we have to write how much amount they have quoted. Sometimes they may there will be some errors in the BOQ. BOQ in the sense sometimes they some people quote GST on total amount instead of individual value. So there will be some errors. So tender evaluation committee will quote the exact amount if there are any errors in if there are any calculation errors. So mentions whatever amount they have quoted. I'm just keeping some dummy amount here. So rank F1 and you can mention save as draft, submit. Of course, if there are more than one bidder at this stage, you can even see the comparison chart also. It will generate the comparison statement automatically. That's it. Okay, so if I mention some value, it will like the vendor is going to get the notification. So this is like a kind of a demonstration purpose. So I'm not doing this at this stage. Okay, so this is all about accepting at the financial stage. Okay, so the vendor is going to receive the message. Then after that, you can place the work order, and that is like we can place manually, and we can upload the copy in this at this stage. award of contract, AOC. So select the respective tender. Let's say this is the respective tender, some other tender, and for how much you are placing the order, and what is the award of contract. So you can upload that one and you can close this one. So, and of course, it is asking once again asking all the details. Let's say this is another tender, not our present tender. This is another tender which was opened. All the technical bits were open, financial bits were open, financial evolution is also over. Now we need to simply write the values and the ranks and whom the award has been issued. We had to select that one. So you can click save. So if you do this one, your tender is going to be abolished. I mean, it is going to be removed from this portal. From now onwards, your CPP portal have nothing to do with this, your tender. You can see some of the tenders are still appearing. That means process is yet to be finished. We have manually issued the work order because we can't directly issue the work order here. We have to do our regular process only. Once L1 is selected, obviously we have to give them work order, and the work order copy we have to upload it. That's it. So this is all about floating tenders and opening and technical and financial evaluation. And there are another some things like which are self-explanatory, like if you want to seek any clarification, like you can write as a clarification. Let's suppose if you are conducting pre-bid meeting, and after pre-bid meeting, if you want to add any other thing, that also you can upload here. You can see pre-bid meeting here. And if you want to upload the minutes of pre-bid meeting, that also you can upload. Or if you want to add any other additional item at pre-bidding stage, that also you can. So this is all about CPP portal. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. I hope most of you already know about this one. It's not new. If you have any particular issue that you have been facing in your offices, you can share with me now. Any doubts? Namaskar. हेलो जी, बोलिए, आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है। हेलो In fact, I have even prepared a PPT, detailed PPT. Each and every one. You can even go through this one. Each and everything in detail we have given. So I'm going to share this PPT also. All the steps are mentioned here. So it is going to be useful like a reference material. So I'm going to share this also in our WhatsApp group. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or else we'll close the session now.
Sir, as a finance member in division, WOs are being nominated with the signature. Whether there is it correct?
What would divisional offices? What?
WOs, as to the course officers nominated as this finance member. No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
No issue. Yeah. Actually, he has to be there. ideally speaking, one person, like either AO or accounts officer, has to be the member of tender evaluation committee.
No, sir told the JS, no, on the no below rank of JS, no problem. Since
No, that is different. I'm talking about the JS is only for like suppose that is a different part. For floating any tender,
yes, finance
first of all, yeah, we need to generate the ID, GEM availability report from GEM. Sometimes what will happen, that particular item will be available on the GEM, but still you want to procure through CPP portal. So logically, it is not allowed. Ideally, it is not allowed to do so. So in that case, what we do, we put up facts and circumstances and the urgency of nature, and we will put up on file, and we will take the approval of at least a JS level officer, like chief engineer level officer,
okay, no.
and we will upload that one. Suppose if you want to procure computers definitely available on GEM, so it won't generate GEM availability report. It won't allow you to do float tender on CPP portal. But there is an urgency or something. So a particular computer is not available on computer anyway. We cannot do it. Some say, let's say in a category, let's say mess. In our case, services of mess. If you simply type providing catering services, that particular service is already available on GEM. But we could not get that GEM availability report, that ID. We could not able to generate. The reason is that particular service is already available on GEM, so there is no need to float the tender on CPP. But the fact is, there are so many issues with the services. Particularly the mess service, the catering services. That is like the functionality, the terms and conditions mentioned in that GEM tender or the default services which is available on the GEM is not matching with our requirement. So we have mentioned so and so, we need so and so, and our requirement is not matching with the default services which is available on GEM. So we will float a tender on CPP. So like that, we have put up a case and we took the approval of chief engineer and we uploaded the document in the CPP. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, if you don't have any doubts, we conclude the session now, and we'll be having a concluding session or question session at 3 o'clock today. And with that, we are going to end this training program. And thank you all for your patience.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir.